So we're back. That's funny. It's deja vu, mate. This is Michael Bennett. He's a comedian. He thinks he's funny. Tax, etc., etc. Bit of a rewind. So
we're back.
So yeah, no, that's good about you've mentioned that you have had depression in the past, and I think we touched on that in the interview, the very first one that I shared. And as a comedian, your job's to make people laugh. So that's a sort of battle, and you're not the first comedian. Sorry to not make a joke of it, but you're actually not the first comedian to actually suffer from depression.
No. Well, Robin Williams is the most famous one for that, and quite sadly that he couldn't battle it right till the end there, but he had other things on his mind and things that were going on. But that really hit me when that happened and Robin did that. So
yeah, no, it would, and there was also, was it Woody Harrelson attempted it? Was it the? Do you know that? I think he's a comedian. I hope that's right. Someone will correct me. This is a good thing about going live. When you get things wrong, people actually correct you. So say as much wrong stuff as you like. You'll take heat on it and you'll learn. So those who are joining us tonight, thanks for being here. Sorry that, as always, I do need a producer. I'll be honest. I actually put the word out for someone to be a producer. And the problem is when you're trying to do it as a one-man team, it'd be nice if someone would come and sit in the studio and actually... Sorry. Someone... Your phone doesn't work. It's broken. So that's the event. Sorry. I need you on my page. So here it is. Sorry, I'm just trying to get this working.
Just so we can have chats too, and you can talk to us as well, make this very interactive, which is kind of cool, isn't it? Be able to do that. And that's happening a lot more now with this COVID. People, even though we are unable to go out and sort of do the social things at pubs and clubs and all that sort of stuff, we are actually pretty connected,
Fix your audio. You need to drop the audio on that. You've broken it. Thanking you. So thanks everyone for joining us, and thank you for filling in while I was pushing buttons. So this guy's a bit of an entertainer. So one of his backstories...
Did you share it? Sorry.
Start. Oh no, I didn't. Okay. So thank you. You could be my producer.
Yeah, cool. Thanks.
That's cool. So,
share now. Am I shared?
That's it. Awesome, bro. Okay. Look at you. You're famous. So thanks for being here, guys. Look, we were talking about depression so far, and I'm trying to be funny, but I'm not the comedian in the room right now. I'll try and be the smartest person in the room from time to time, but not always the funniest. So
I can't pull that smartest thing off now.
Let's talk about this shirt that you're sporting right here, because I thought that was your brand, and you've disappointed me with a truth as you walked in.
I hope it's not disappointing. No, it's like... it's synchronicity. When you're locking something in your mind and you're really, I call it a burning desire, because a desire is a destination, destination engaging synchronicity, imagination, retrospect, and emotion. That's what I call desire. That's my thing in the book I like. And then you got to, if you want that desire to actually manifest, you got to light it, right? You got to light it with a passion, right? Which is what you'll do here. And so then it becomes a burning desire. So I have this burning desire to help people take control of their minds, so they can control the monkey minds, they can release and awaken the warrior within and take back control of their minds, so they can feel better emotionally and physically and spiritually. And I just had that in my mind. And what I've been really working on over the last few months is like, okay, my book's coming out, and I need a pitch and my why and all this sort of stuff and trying to put that into the smallest kind of words to get it across as what you do. It's really, really hard. And I'm just going, oh man, well, it's been really quite challenging, to actually put in a small amount of words. Somebody in an elevator for 5 seconds, what do you do? And so I wanted to get my fix in shopping. I haven't been shopping for quite some time, but I saw a second-hand shop open the other day, right? So I'm just driving. I said, I'll go to the second. I love second-hand shops.
I was going to say,
I love them.
I do my best shopping at second-hand shops,
mate. Oh my God, they're the best.
One man's trash, another man's treasure.
Oh, it's beautiful. And I was just going through that, and I don't usually look at T-shirts, right? Because I just like shirts or jeans. I generally look for. But I was just flicked through the T-shirts, and this popped out at me, jumped out, and it says PT for the mind with the brain on it. And my book's called Become a Mind Ninja. And it's about training the brain. And then I saw this PT for the mind. I went, thank you. That's my why. And they go, what do you do? I'm a PT for the mind, more or less. And so no, I didn't build this myself. And then I got home and I googled it, of course, PT for the mind. And there's somebody's out there doing some wonderful mind stuff for the brain and helping people take control of their minds and get themselves mentally, physically fit, you know. So.
For my people who love sport and for my athletes that I work with, I'm huge on mental toughness and mindset, and I feel like that's what separates the best from everyone else is their ability to have this perception of mind over matter. And in the interviews I've done, like with the motivational guys like yourself that are like Alan Stein Jr., Kev Eastman, I just spoke with Brandon Steiner, who's a major sporting memorabilia mogul in the US. Absolutely amazing story, but he gives some examples of different mindsets. So he had, and that comes out this Sunday, so I don't want to give too much away, but he talks about the underdog mindset and also the hostile mindset.
Oh, yeah.
And while they sound terrible, they're really about motivating yourself to move forward. So any sort of tools that you can to overcome adversity and any perceptions that you can give yourself to give you a mind that can overcome those things is pretty important. So looking forward to the book coming out. It's with the publisher right now.
Yeah, Ocean Reeves Publishing, so it's amazing. He got behind it and really loves the concept. So, but with that mindset and the PT for the mind, I mean, with sports especially, one of my most famous things that I like is that what was it, exercise that they did with the 3 different groups of people with the basketball shots, yeah? And, yeah.
I haven't seen that. So
it's amazing. So they had 3 lots of 12, 3 groups of 12. And so the whole thing's visualization, which is major in sport. Major. So long as you think, and you've got to have your eye on the target, keep your eye on the ball, visualize. And so they got 3 groups, and they had this group. One group here is to do the free ball shots, you know, the
free throw.
Throw, yeah.
I'll correct you. You correct me on.
Thanks, mate. Yeah.
You correct me on comedy, and I'll correct you on.
Yeah. Cool. So what am I going to turn to you and go? That's not funny, Greg. Anyway, but
Thank you, bro.
No. So they had to practice daily for like 2 hours a day, and then the next group they had to visualize that they were practicing it, you know, with all the muscle groups and everything else, and really feel yourself. That's the whole thing behind visualization, is to actually feel the outcome. And then another group, not to practice, not to do anything, and nothing. And so the first 2 groups were pretty much even, and I love that. The whole visualization, it's the power of the mind is absolutely incredible. So
yeah, so it's interesting because Brandon Steiner talks about his experience with MJ, Michael Jordan, which I've already sort of hinted at. But he talks about imagery and how he incorporated that into something that was an absolutely great story. And I don't want to share too much, but definitely intriguing. But he talks about imagery and a dream that he had that he made a reality. So he's really huge on imagery, and it is something that I'm a huge believer in too. And it's proved that they've actually put sensors on people's heads and had people play the piano, and they've monitored their brain function while they've played the piano, and then they've had them think about playing the piano, and it's fired the exact same areas of the brain, even though they're not actually playing. Just the thought of playing fires those same. It is, and they can prove that scientifically, that those same areas, when you think about doing something, are fired as if you're actually doing it. So absolutely powerful stuff. I don't know. I bang on about mindset all the time to my athletes, and I don't think they've quite got it. It really is what can help you throughout your life, is actually getting and working what I refer to as the mental muscle. And I don't think I think as we get to our age, we do more of it, the midlife crisis and the looking and reassessment or life audits.
My midlife's not happening for another 20 years, bro. So I don't know what you're talking about, but anyway.
So, and it's not actually a midlife. Actually, it's a life audit, I call it, where people stop and question some of the things that life has thrown at them, and what they've been told and all those things. And I think that there is a stage where I'm seeing it in my own interviews. So I'm assuming that it's anecdotal, but I'm seeing it come up again and again and again as people get to a certain age. They start to reassess things in their life. And it's just the stages that we go through. And
we just got that's my whole thing is unbelieve the negative programming.
It is programming.
Yeah, well, we've been physically programmed, or not physically programmed, but well, some of us have. If we've been beaten in the bum and clipped around the ear like I was, So,
but let's talk about that because we are programs. People might not understand it, but our whole what we believe and what we are and who we are has been derived by so many factors that actually lead us to do certain things that can either help us achieve things or stop us from achieving things. So we call them cognitive biases. That we're not born. We're born with some things which are natural biases. Like if we see a snake, we're going to panic and run.
You fight and flight.
So we're geared with those aspects. But then we can develop our own fears and our own anxieties and all those things, and we can learn to overcome them with a mental mind.
They're programmed, and like when we come out of the womb, it's absolutely amazing. Like we come out like a brand new hard drive,
Yeah.
And if you put it something like when you buy a brand new phone and you start bashing on it, and then you got some little kid in the shop there just going, "Mister, what are you doing?" I said, "I can't hear my music. I can't hear my music. This thing's stupid. I can't hear my music." And he goes, "Mate, you got to put programs in there to play the music." You go, man, all right." So that's the same as when we're born. So we've got to be able to use our whole structure and what we're made for. We have to program what we need out of our body. So. And that generally comes for the first 5 to 7 years. It's programming because we're actually in a theta state for those 5 years, which we're more prone to be programmed through the proximity of the people that we have around us. So what's our mum doing, our dad doing, our siblings doing, the proximity of the people that we're around in our community are doing. So it's based on religious and cultural beliefs and our familiar background, So... Yeah, we get programmed with those kind of beliefs. So, and fears. A lot of them are fears as well that are programmed into us that we have to try and get out,
So I'm talking with Michael Bennett, who's a comedian, and we'll come on to talk about the comedy stuff so people understand the context. But if you have any questions for this funny fella, or he's actually an NLP practitioner, I called you before, you're into NLP. So the neuro-linguistic programming stuff that he absolutely loves and incorporates into his comedy, and he likes to leave people with a message. So hopefully today you'll be delivering a message for everyone that you guys get something out of it.
Well, hopefully.
Really appreciate you guys being here. If you've got any questions for him around anything, he'll try and answer them as best he can.
Yeah,
if you do recognise the face, you may have seen this young man in his younger day, which wasn't that long ago. So, he actually won an award for internationally for being the best theme park
street performer entertainer out of any theme park in the world.
And which theme park was that?
That was at Warner Brothers Movie World's Police Academy stunt show I worked at for 16 years. Yeah, it was amazing. Yeah.
So he was the warm-up fella?
Yeah, I was the stuntman for 16 years, but the last 8 years I was pretty much the full-time warm-up guy.
Mike, wasn't?
Mad Mike.
Mad Mike?
Mad Mike, yeah. So I was the guy that did the balloons, and that was 3 half-hour shows daily to about 2,500 people without talking. So to people from 3-year-olds right up to 93-year-olds without talking, and it was amazing. It was such a fun time doing that.
Yeah. So, and you've done comedy on the ships, but not right now.
Not recently. No, not in the last.
What are your thoughts around doing cruise lines now? Doing your comedy acts on the cruise lines? Obviously not now, but
no.
But with what's going on, do you think how's that affecting the industry? It'd be pretty huge at the moment. The cruise lines would be parking their ships, wouldn't they?
Oh, yeah, they're still bobbing around, and some of them are in their home ports and stuff, of course. But, I mean, they're getting affected the same as clubs and pubs and nightclubs and casinos and restaurants and stuff. It's the same kind of thing. It's a place where a lot of people can go, and and Vegas is shut down. The cruise ships have shut down, but the cruise ships are going to bounce back. They're going to bounce back amazingly. Like they are all about the people and the guests, and so they're going to do everything in their power. It's like the cruise ships would probably be one of the best places to jump on first when you get the okay, because they are so diligent at keeping their customers happy, that they don't want this to happen again. And I'm really sad about the bashing that they're copying from the media, actually, because I know some of it personally is just not true. Like there was one of the first things that I heard that the media was saying, I can't believe that it came into Sydney and it dropped the people off, and it was this cruise ship and it was this cruise line, and I'm there looking at it just going, no, I was on that ship and it left from Melbourne and it didn't go back to Sydney. It left from Melbourne and went back to Melbourne, and didn't have the people on and to getting off in Sydney, the same ship, the same company that the news was going. So it's just Chinese whispers is what the marketing and media and the news, they just
get it wrong.
You know,
you're right. Did you just hit the there's an adjustment underneath. I love it.
Is there? I don't know. There was a adjustment.
I was just waiting for the comedy. That's all. So just sit forward. You've got two adjustments at the front on the left and right, two levers. One of them's going to bring that forward.
Ooh, and we're back. Yeah,
are you back or not?
Yeah,
Cool. I like that. I was ready to catch you then. I was ready to dive.
Nice.
So those that are joining us, so I can see my cousins jumped in. Jess
Kia ora, cuz.
Jess Cicluna, I used to coach with her. Jay Pickering, I mentioned him once before to you. He actually jumped in with the anti-bullying stuff. So he had the podcast, The Bully Beaters, for a while.
Oh, nice work. Congratulations. Thanks for that.
Yeah, he has an experience around bullying and things like that when you're in the bullying space. So who have you got? Have you got any people that have joined there that you want to shout out to and see if anyone's got any questions?
Yeah, Kim Marie. We've got Ian Nixon. Cheers. Thanks for joining us. Kim Marie, Paula joined. Paul Burke. We've got Dylan. We've got this amazing dude, Dylan. He's a very cool friend of mine that we've been talking to and just sharing quite a few moments and thoughts about each other and our minds and what we're going through as a young man.
Okay.
Just finding a few troubles, and myself finding a few troubles, and so we've used that age gap between us to sort of work out a great mindset. And he's an amazing warrior that's coming through and taken on. He's really taken on what I'm trying to do in my book and the messages that I'm trying to get out. And so, cheers, Dylan.
Yeah. Has anyone got any questions for comedian and mental resilience coaches, is what I say, but the mind ninja. I'm going to refer to you as the mind ninja. It's like,
thanks.
Yeah, so the mind ninja, because that is the book is actually what's the title of the book?
Become a Mind Ninja.
Yeah, Become a Mind Ninja, and you started Mind Ninja Academy, which is the website.
Yeah, I'm the CEO of the mindninjaacademy.com now, so I'm putting up a bit of content up there. I've done a few blogs. I've been doing a few blogs over this period of Corona. I was trying to get just to help people because they're going through a little bit of turmoil at the moment, and they're finding themselves with different emotions and different feelings within this time. And what I'm finding there is that people are taking all this information in their minds, right? It's going through all the senses, through their ears, through their eyes, through their nose, they're smelling, feeling, and everything's happening in their minds, and and their whole body is reacting to the thoughts that they have in their minds because of it. And what I'm saying is, take it through all your senses, but drop it into your heart before you have any reaction to what the situation is that you're going through. So it's a mind and a heart connection. Greg Braden talks extensively about that. You can Google him, check out what he's doing. But the mind and the heart, once the mind and the heart's connected, then you can bring yourself back to a better emotional state and feel better by taking stock of what's actually perceived as a fear or perceived as nasty or horrible or whatever you're feeling within your mind. And then the mind ninja can actually look after it. Just going to go, no, that's only a perceive. It's not necessary. We don't need to be that frightened. And so we bring it back down into the heart. Then you just once you do that, you just be more kind to yourself.
Yeah.
That's what we're going to do, is just be more kind to us.
It comes back to that equation that a couple of people have mentioned in the podcast now. The event plus the response equals the outcome, and it's controlling that response.
Oh, yeah. I've got, mine's exactly like that. It's S plus R equals E. So the situation can't change. This is the situation that you're in, and it's your reaction to the situation will stipulate equals the end result. So if you're not happy with the same equation, Joe Dispenza
Yeah, So that's pretty cool. So being joined here by Michael Bennett, that's for my friends who don't know who you are. You're sharing with your friends. If anyone wants to start a watch party, by all means. Normally I have basketball people, so people are probably sitting there wondering, what can we ask this guy? But he has worked in the entertainment industry for a good number of years. He was at Warner Brothers Movie World as the warm-up guy and a stunt guy. So if you're wanting to know how to potentially get into that space, or even the cruise liners.
Yeah.
He's worked on cruise liners, so you might be working in a space where it's something someone or someone is considering doing that. Maybe they might be changing their mind at the moment given the publicity, but all that stuff will bounce back eventually. But how did you get into the cruise liners, actually? What was the story there? I don't think we investigated that last time you were here.
Oh, okay. That was, I was a stuntman at Movie World for 16 years. So that was from 1992 to 2008. Yeah. And I started doing comedy in 1998. And then I was pretty much, by 2000, I was headlining and pretty much calling myself a professional comedian, traveling around the country and working for the Sit Down Comedy Club and various other clubs and pubs and casinos around the country. And you know, I was one of the sought after comedians. There's amazing comedians up here in southeast Queensland and around Australia that are doing amazing stuff, and I was one of them. And then in 2008, just the same year that Movie World they disbanded the Police Academy stunt show. So I took my redundancy from there, and it was about 3 months later that I'm sort of just going, oh, okay, all right, I've got to work out what my next step is. Just still doing comedy around the place, of course. Yes. And then lovely Kelly from the Sit Down Comedy Club in Fidelli, they just said, hey, look, would you be interested in doing the P&O cruise lines? We have taken a contract up on there and putting the Sit Down Comedy Club on the 3 ships that were based here in Australia. And it was just like, well, yes, of course, I would love to do that. So that's where the cruising started for me, just doing the Sit Down Comedy Club on the P&Os for about 3 years, pretty much constantly. And then I got another agent, jump on board and really liked what I was doing, and then he punched me out to other cruise lines sort of globally. So
which ones have you done? Can you name some of the ships you've been on?
Oh man, yeah, so I've done all the P&Os, the Jewel, the Pearl, the Sun, the Dawn, the Explorer that's just now out, and I do all the most of the Royal Caribbeans, which is the Ovation, the Rhapsody, the Radiance, the Voyager, the Explorer, and I've done all the Princess ones, the Sun, the Dawn, and the Azamara Journey, and many. So
there's a little one that goes out that goes and does a loop and does a comedy 2 or 3 days. Have you ever been on that one?
Oh, I've done many of those. Yeah, the Sit Down Comedy Club.
Is that them?
They do the 3-day comedy cruises, and they're amazing. They just do such an amazing job, and the talent that they've got to tap into, of course, is absolutely amazing. So, and I've worked with Peter Rosenthal a few times on those, and some amazing comedians, that are real household names, plus all plethora of unbelievable comedians that a lot of people don't know about, but they put on amazing. Yeah, the 3-day comedy clubs is what you want to do, man.
Yeah. So those who don't know about the cruises, there is cruises that go. I think they're about once or twice. They might be twice a year. They might even be extra on that. So,
they're doing so more now. The comedy cruise.
Yes, you've added more. So the idea is you go. It's a cruise to nowhere technically. They just leave. I think they probably leave different ports, but the one out of Brisbane leaves, goes out, does a loop, and comes back. Yeah. And you have 3 days, 2 nights, and it's nothing but comedy. But you can also do comedy workshops where you actually learn how to.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Try and be funny. Yeah. So I need one of those. It's like I should. It's very reasonable too. I think it's like $400 or something.
Best.
Like that.
It's the best. And there's a lot of hens parties going there, of course. So there's a lot of hens. A lot of birthday parties and stuff, because it is so cheap and everything's paid for. And what's good about the cruises is you go on there as a family, like like 20, imagine that, like extended family 20, and then you could not see each other all day, and then you meet up for dinner, or you do these shows and you can meet up, so you could either
because there's
not see them or see them.
there's something comical going on the whole time. It's non-stop. It's a laugh non-stop.
It's a massive festival for 3 days and there's everything going, so, and you've got Kat Davis, the amazing Kat Davison, doing the workshops as well. Fiona McGarry, she does some of those as well, but you've got Bev Killick and just amazing comedians on there, just doing wonderful stuff. And you can, a lot of people that are now taking off in the comedy industry around Australia did do the Gong show, the Gong show, like they did the workshops and they did the Gong show and they stood up, which is really lucky, like to be able to get a captive audience.
Explain what that show is so that people understand what the Gong show is.
Oh, okay, all right. So it's pretty much like a Red Faces, and for those that are younger, again, it's Red Faces is like the hey sort of day when you. All right, so the Gong show is you learn the workshop, and so you learn how to craft comedy, speak comedy, talk about comedy, present yourself and hold the microphone, and then you can sign up the next day to be part of a 5-minute, pretty much a 5-minute show. Well, I think you get 3 minutes. You get 3 minutes on stage, and so you'll probably get 15, 20 people for 3 minutes each, and it's just amazing. And some of these people have had it in their minds for a while. They go, I'd like to do comedy, and this is their chance now. So, and to be able to stand up for your first gig in front of about 800 people in the theatre, and these are giving and loving people too, So they're really cool. Especially, it's like on it's like on the last day before it gets back, So it's on the last day.
So you'd expect all that. All this, what is it, serotonin and oxytocin.
Oh, the dopamine, the serotonin.
Dopamine's just 100% by that
flowing,
time.
and the love is there, and they're part of the family. It's like doing it for your 3,000 odd family members.
Like
so everyone gives you just so much love. So it's a wonderful, wonderful thing that they got there doing that. Yeah, you got to do it, man.
Yeah, well, it's on my bucket list. I keep looking at that tour and thinking, that I've never been on a cruise. Actually, I've never been outside Australia. A lot of people go, "What?" I'm just like,
"What?"
What? It's like people. Seriously, I've had opportunities presented to me to coach over in the US, just on trips and things. Not unpaid, pay where I don't have to pay. And even to China and places like that. And I will go one day, but the China one I missed out on. I did want to do that, funnily enough, but not the US ones. But it doesn't. For some reason, it's not something traveling. Maybe because I've never done it, I don't care for it.
Yeah,
it's not. But that's something that interests me. Going out on a loop. Just for fun, 3 days.
Oh, well, that's the best one for you. I mean, a lot of people do that just to test the waters, as you say.
Yes.
So they want to see how they go on a ship and how they feel, and because there's a lot of horror stories as there is good stories as well. So and people have once they get programmed in their mind that it's going to be horrible, it's going to be nasty. I mean, you've got to unbelieve that, and just try not to listen to too many Chinese whispers, especially with what's going on at the moment, and just really take stock of yourself and how you feel, and that's the same as cruise ships as well. So you'll absolutely love it. But do a 3-day one for sure. That's amazing.
Hey, my ninja, stop hitting my mic. So he's like, headbutt. Yeah, no, I'm joking. That's cool. And it's I wondered when I spoke with you earlier or last year. About the cruise stuff, because I used your footage of some of your shows, some of the comedy acts that you did, family friendly. I want to ask a question though, because comedy's broad. You do a really positive comedy. Have you ever delved into the other stuff, like the more
the late night?
Yeah.
Oh, my late night was absolutely disgusting. Oh my god. Yeah, I'd taken to places that they go, oh, did he go there? Yes, I went there. But I still do like late night comedy as well. So
I wasn't sure that's where.
I still do it. And the P&Os they're all late night comedies. And when I was doing a few of the comedy cruises,
yes,
I'd do a matinee for a PG, but I absolutely love the PGs. But sure, hey, look, I give them what they want. That's what I was going to say.
So. I only got to show the PGs on my podcast. I wanted to check because there was so much we didn't get to connect with the first time I met you. So I really appreciate you coming on the show tonight, live streaming with friends.
Yeah.
It's not about. There's probably people coming into the group that are a bit disappointed, thinking I'm going to have a basketball person. But for those,
sorry, I'm too short for that.
Yeah, I won't have you stand up because it's probably not going to change your height at all. No,
I'm the same size. I am standing up.
Yeah. So, Interestingly, for those that are basketball type fans, I have been working on having a couple of people come next week. So I am working on CJ and Cal Bruton. I have spoken with them. They want to come on together, so we're working on the logistics of that. They're in different states, but we'll work it out. And Mitch McCarron as well, but they're in the working. So hopefully the next fortnight it'll be those two. But tonight we have someone who aspired to be a basketballer but ended up being a comedian because he realised that he wasn't as tall as Michael Jordan. So, but appreciate you being here. Have you got anyone you want to say hello to, or any questions or any comments?
I've just waved to everybody. That's what I was doing there with my head down. So yeah, I just thought I'd wave to everybody there. But yeah, I've got some amazing. We're talking about cruise ships. We've got Sean Allen on here, and I met him. I've met quite a few amazing people on cruise ships, as you can imagine, like when I'm by myself and I'm out there, anywhere from 4 to 14 days for myself. We're called what's fly on, so we can fly on in Vanuatu, and then we can come back to Sydney and then stay on and then go back out to Noumea, New Caledonia. So that's a fly on. So that's how they can use one cabin, but they can get more people on. So that when I get off in New Caledonia, somebody else will get on. So it's that.
And it keeps everyone interesting in cycling through.
And fresh, more entertainers. They get more entertainers when they do it that way.
I didn't know that was cool. Yeah, I didn't know that was the way it operated. Because I noticed you coming and going all the time, and I knew you were doing a series of cruises, but I didn't realise that you were actually that they're flying you on and flying off. So like a miner, fly in, fly out. Yeah,
that's right, exactly. Yeah, fly-ons we're called. Instead of So it's cool, and that's what we do. And it's really cool. It's a fun way of doing that, But a lot of people sort of don't like the travel, but I love the travel.
How do you find people on the ship once you've done a show? Because you're on the ship mingling with the people. Do you find that you're invited onto their tables at dinner and things like that?
Yes, I have.
They want to engage you, and
they do. Yeah,
do you have some fun?
Yeah. Great.
Stupid question.
No, I have the best time. There was because I've been doing that for 11 years, and I was battling a little bit of depression as well. And it's kind of
So keeping, we talked about that earlier, the depression, keeping the dopamine up for you and the serotonin and those things. The comedy is really important for you as a tool. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I love it. It's the energy from the laughter and the love of people that sort of boosts me up and gives me a cool high, So, and I like that because it gets kind of lonely, So I'm I've lost a couple of wives because of
the real talk is where a lot of this stuff happens too. Is you talk about you're doing your mindset training and your mindset stuff and helping others that have experienced similar stuff to you. So, it's no good me who hasn't experienced that stuff talking to. You can provide support to people, but people that are living it, and I've seen this again with my podcast, particularly with one of the individuals there who suffers bipolar, who I spoke with. You Don't Fight Alone is the name of that episode.
Nice.
He's relatable because he's living it and lived it, and therefore he can help people and understand them because he's walking the same walk as them. So when you walk the walk, you can talk the talk. So
true.
To hear, to know that you struggle and have struggled with depression, which is lifelong. It's all about management when you have mental health diagnoses and things like that. So the fact that you've actually, you're battling with that or say managing that on a regular basis.
I have defeated it now. I can say that. I'm not depressed anymore. I had suicidal thoughts for quite a few years and stuff. I mean, this goes back to a trigger when I lost my fiance 1 month before we were supposed to be married back in 1992. So that was kind of a devastating blow and a big trigger for me to grab the top shelf of alcohol. And that was my medicine and stuff, So I thought I can't keep on, living this kind of lifestyle. So, exactly. I've come from the trenches, and I've had to study the brain to work out, okay, how am I going to sort this out? So and some of the books that I was reading was just like, wow, it's just overpowering because of all the knowledge and the languaging that they were using was just way over my head. So I immersed myself in it, and I've written my book to help teach other people how to train their brain without all the lingo.
Yeah.
So I'm coming through and that's why I wanted, especially men, I want to hit the high vis guys and the post traumatic stress disorder and the miners and construction workers and stuff. So without having to talk about meditation and yoga and the mind and the spirit and the high source and yoga and God and stuff. No,
Yeah.
no. So you got a warrior that was you were born. You were born. You were born to be a warrior.
Stop it.
So yeah. So unlock the warrior, and
Yes.
and you got innate weapons that you can use. That's the weapons and defeat. And so now people are going, okay, I want to know more about that, because the languaging is a lot more. Okay, all right, you can do this. So it's a battle plan that I'm trying to give people. So
I like it.
Yeah.
It is. It's actually masculinizing
Yeah.
the whole conversation, because it's something. Would you stop? Jesus.
Oh, look, my hands are up.
I don't know what the hell you're doing, but I think you're having way too much fun. You think you're back at Movie World, mate, on the rides.
Down.
Actually, how was it working at Movie World? Like, how was that as an experience for the time you were there? What was it? Did you say 18 years?
16 years. Yeah.
So the amount of people, entertainers and people, amazing people, I imagine that you would meet. You're hitting you must. Is it doing it itself? Is it?
Yeah, my hands are over here. Yeah.
I don't know what you're doing.
I just won't lean back. I'll just be all right.
It should lock in place. Yeah, no.
It should. Yes. You're correct. It should. Yeah.
You did sign that disclaimer on injury before you walked in the door tonight, didn't you? Is it definitely? It's playing up.
Yeah. I'll just sit up. I'm okay.
Are you? I'm sure you're hitting it. So I don't have that problem, because I'm like 5 or 6 inches taller than you, so
okay.
If you need me to get you another chair,
No,
I'm happy
we're
to
fine.
go.
We're fine. We can.
Is anyone? I've seen Fairfair's a good supporter. Nick Kay, basketballer. I would love to chat with Nick. He's in the chat. So, Nick, if you're looking to join me on live streaming with friends, I would actually love to have you on the show. So I'm hoping to have Mitch McCarron in the next couple of weeks. We're on the back trying to sort that out. I've got an issue with my live stream here. I can see.
We've got Marion Yates have joined us. That's Dylan's mother. So thanks for jumping them on, and Merrick Steed as well. A friend from way back, a blast from the past. That we must hook up, Merrick, for sure. I can't believe it's like 5 months already into this, and the years are going. Is anybody else feeling that? It's just like.
Yeah, no, it's amazing, isn't it?
Like this, the energy that's happening and what's going on at the moment, and how people are getting through this and what they're doing is kind of like it's a real different energy, isn't it? Right? It's a different feeling, So trying to get people to harness and hone into their feelings and control them at the moment, especially with what's going on with people, losing their jobs and then not having enough money and being in lockdowns and things.
I think the amazing thing that I feel is how fragile everything actually is. That everyone's sense of reality and their what they thought they would be doing this time of the year, and all the plans, and you're seeing people who are getting married and they're only having 2 or 3 or 4, and
yes,
you're seeing people who are having to have funerals where there's only
10 people. I know. That's,
like not that you planned for that, but the point being is the way that even like every event in life is impacted by this, and it's something that you just can't predict. In fact, I saw I think it was a meme or something today that basically said, my maths teacher never told me I'd need maths to teach my kids during a plague. So, when I asked my teacher what do I need maths for?
Yeah, exactly.
Like my teacher never told me that I needed to have maths so that when there was a plague I could teach my kids.
Yeah. You're going to need
It's like, hindsight's amazing.
Oh man, yeah, but it's a different vibe that's going on out there. It's crazy, So I think those with the guarded mind and are taking control of their mind, body, and spirit, and taking ownership of that, are going to come out a lot better, as opposed to the ones that are sort of freaking and stressing a little bit too much, So that they're going to go a little bit haywire.
So in one of my interviews with Brian Kane, who has worked with some of the world's best athletes on mental toughness, including UFC champions, who helped Georges St. Pierre win his first title belt. He was the guy that he got in his corner when he failed to get the belt, and he then won a number of them with him in his corner. Nice. He actually has one of the belts, which he shows in the interview that I do on People with a Passion, but he literally says, and I have it as a short on both Facebook and YouTube if people haven't seen it, where he says opportunity is nowhere, but he says if you look at that word and you actually spell it out, it's opportunity is now here.
Exactly.
And he talks about victors and victims, and he says right now you can look at this as a victim moment where the world and everything's happening to you, or you can look at the world right now and say everything's happening for you. And he said in 5 years' time, there are going to be people that are saying, I'm almost channeling him. I know the stuff that much, but he says in 5 years' time, there are going to be people that are actually saying, if it wasn't for coronavirus, I wouldn't be this now.
Oh, exactly.
It's perspective. Yeah. And he says that it's all a matter of perspective. Yeah. I really am channeling him, by the way. Nice, it's amazing how it's coming back. But that's Brian Cain. So absolutely amazing. And I speak to people like yourself, the resilient coaches, the motivational speakers, and it's hard for me not to get excited when I listen. Yeah. So even when you get going with your mental resilience stuff, I don't understand how anyone could block that stuff out because it's very powerful stuff. Yeah. So really appreciate you being here.
Thank you, bro.
Weddings and I've got fanfare. He says screw weddings, no basketball. You got anyone you want to shout out to?
Lisa's just gone 2 good-looking guys. Thanks very much, Lisa.
So where are they? I'm having a look. I can't see.
It's the little blue one and
I love the neons in my fish tank.
They're great. Thank you, Lisa. Appreciate it. Got some cool people joining in with us, man. Thanks very much. Ace McDermott. Now, this is that. He's like, if you want to know how my book got started, right?
Yep. So I do. Go.
Ace McDermott lives in Indonesia, right? He's an amazing entertainer, and he's now the pain management guru of Indonesia, right? So he's curing everything and everybody. Amazing, right? So check that out. Make sure you Google Ace McDermott and the pain management guru. You can check out that. And he's been a friend of mine. He taught me a lot of magic. He was a magician. He's a master magician. He's incredible, right? Sleight of hand and so
I forgot to tell everyone you actually are a magician and a balloonist.
A balloonologist and a flutist and oh my goodness.
We'll finish with the flute as we did last time tonight, so that is coming. Stay tuned for the flute. Yeah. But sorry, keep the story going with the magic and the Indonesian inspiration.
Yeah, so he taught me, and he was a great mentor for me, and he still is, right? He's an amazing dude. And one day we were talking to each other over Skype, and we says, hey, look, why don't we write a book? You write a book, I'll write a book, and we'll do a chapter each, and we'll pass it over to each other and keep each other accountable. And I was just like, yeah, righty, because he's got a lot of thoughts and to help people, control their feelings and their minds and whatever they're ailing them, and I wanted to control, and talk about how I defeated depression, and the monkey minds are really important. So we started doing that and passing over chapters to each other, and we were doing that, keeping each other accountable. We sort of just lost that sort of over a period of months of handing it over. We got busy, and that's when cruise ships, he's in major on cruise ships as well.
Okay.
And then it sort of just, dissipated, and then I'm just going, hey, I've finished my book, It was just like last year, I think it was about November or something. I said, I finished my book, Ace, I finished my book, And he's just going, I'm just about to finish mine as well. And he has now. He's finished it during this corona. He's finished it. So
And that's the amazing thing is some of the people I've spoken to are actually writing their second books during coronavirus or their thirds or whatever. They're taking this as an opportunity. I've been working on my own projects because I haven't been doing basketball, so applaudable.net. Which is a podcast network, which I already had 2 people sign up to, podcast creators. And there's a few that haven't, which have connected with me. But at the end of the day, I'll just build it up over time. And I'm going to be running podcast courses, which I spoke to you about. So the first one of those will be in September. I'll be actually teaching. I don't want to do the online course stuff. I see a lot of people doing online courses. I do have the ability to set that stuff up as I do my own websites and that.
I should ask them now. Who'd like to see me do a podcast? Who would like to do podcasts and go absolutely
get them in the group to answer if they want a
let me know if you'd like a podcast. I want to see it on here. Do you reckon that it would make it absolutely crazy and wild?
A Mad Mike podcast.
The
Mind Ninja podcast. By the way, I reckon
Mad Mind Ninja podcast.
All of the above. Yeah. So I reckon you'd be as we discussed before we went on air. I think you should do a podcast. I think everyone should do a podcast. And everyone should do my course when I start it.
Yeah, there you go.
So it'll be done on the north side of Brisbane, September holidays on a weekend, so people will be able to get there. It'll be limited numbers, 2-day intensive course covering all aspects. So I have a journalism degree, so it'll also cover topics like libel, defamation, slander, so people understand what those things mean. Because if I go and slander you on the next episode, which is possible,
Really?
or defame you. I don't want to be sued by you. And I think one thing I need to add is a piece of paper around equipment to make sure no one gets hurt.
Yeah.
Because his chair's been playing up, he reckons. I think he's just playing with his chair. I think it's the opposite.
Come on, would I?
So, sleight of hand, mate, you're a magician. But, yeah, what was that? It's like, you did that last time and had me going. I was ready to leave. So the smell was pretty bad. But, yeah, so if anyone wants you to do it, they should be sending you messages and saying, yeah, do a podcast. I think it's something you should do, and I think that people should be creating content if they're in business.
Yeah.
There are different types of podcasts. So there are enterprise podcasts, which are business ones. I have some ideas which I won't share with people around other types of podcasts, which hopefully Portable will have a different thing. So I've got this big vision, and some people are coming on board with that vision. Nice. One of the visions is when I train people, that I'll then offer a mentoring program where they can hopefully become part of applaudable.net and actually earn income from the podcast by becoming a content creator for the network. Nice. So over time, I'll build it up. It'll take years, but where I am in 5 or 10 years, I'm always about long games. Anyone
Fantastic.
who's noticed me with my basketball, always about the long game. And I've seen when I was in computers for the 11 years I chose to do that, I saw a lot of people come and go. So yeah, if you're going to do anything, you want to be doing it for a long time. So 10 years was a good number for me. I got to 11 with the computer stuff before I decided I wanted to do something different. Yeah. And I think you're at that phase in your life too where you've been doing some things different.
Yeah, my oath, yeah.
You got to keep progressing and moving forward. But
that's great.
Yeah, so I can't wait to hear your podcast. It's going to happen. It's going to happen because I'm going to hound you now, like your mate who helped you write a book.
Yeah, good. Ace, yeah, thanks.
So I look forward to having you in the class and putting you in the corner.
Thank you.
Misbehaving. I could just picture it. What were you like in class, mate? You had dyslexia, mate. So I imagine it would have been hard for you to...
It was. Because
I should say have dyslexia. It's not something that disappears.
Yeah.
But you have dyslexia in class. How hard was that for you growing up?
Well, it was wild. Like I had no idea what dyslexia was. It was never diagnosed, of course, and being dyslexic in the 70s just made homework a contact sport for my father, Yeah. So it was, and for the teachers. So, so I was, my biggest trigger was the word, right, there's a test or we've got an exam, and I just go, I just run amok, I'd be telling jokes, I'd be doing handstands or backflips off the chair, off the desk or something, and if they just told me to sit down, but generally I'd make a disturbance until I got kicked out of the class and gone to the headmasters, and so I was caned and smacked. So I'd rather have that than do a test and see numbers and words. So it was kind of a wild time. So I dropped out of school when I was 15. I couldn't understand what was going on. So I became kinesthetic, so I did a lot of my stuff. So I was a Latin American and ballroom dancer, a martial artist and a gymnast. Scuba diver, roller skater. Oh man!
So you talked about roller skating. I think was it you who was doing the DJing or something at the roller skating rink? Yeah. I don't think I put that in the episode actually. I can't remember. Do you remember?
No, I don't think.
What was the story there? You were one of the first.
Yeah, well, I was the DJ of the biggest roller skating rink to have a polyurethane floor put on it back in the late 70s in Upper Hutt in Wellington, in New Zealand. So I was a DJ there, and that's where I cut my teeth with the skates and became a trick skater and a dance skater, and
you can't lie about your age when you say that, because I think as you go 80, you can't really say the first roller skating rink in the 90s or something. You've really got to go back and be honest and tell them the years that you were doing that. But that's pretty cool.
I'm happy. I'm turning 58 in September, man. So that's. Great. Yeah, I love it.
You love that period though. When you spoke to me about that took you back to a place of a lot of fun, I imagine. Oh
my God, it was just amazing. I think I'm really about, when you get so much wind in your eyes that they start watering, and just so I'm with that, with roller skating, roller blading, snow skiing, water skiing. Or motorbikes, so that's my thing, or parachuting as well, when you can get that kind of feeling when your eyes are watering because you're having so much fun and so much speed that you've got to be focused, like you've got to be on tap.
Jumping out of a plane, you didn't tell me you've done that. How often have you done that?
Yeah, I've done that about 3 times, but the first time by myself First time by myself. Like that, it'd be just like mind blowing. People go,
How much trust do you have to have in the parachute? Like, as in, you know what I mean? You got this thing on your back, and you just like hope you got one chance of it being.
We did 4 hours on ground in a little building, right, with a whiteboard, and they're just going, "This is what you do here. When the shooter, you pull on this, and if that doesn't work, you pull on this, and then your 2 levers come out, and if you're caught up here, you got to swing your legs around here, and then you got, and it's just like, oh yeah, okay. And you're talking about, we're not as high as a free fall, because I didn't free fall. It's on a static line like they do. You probably see it on the movies when they jump out of the plane, that static line pulls them, opens the chute straight away. So that's what I did. So I come up, and sure enough, I was the one that was hooked up, so they come out, the chute opens, and then it's spiraling up like this, like a rubber band, and the canopy's open a little bit, but all I can see is one line going up.
Oh, really?
And I'm holding these things going, what did he say? But luckily I was concentrating. I needed to do that.
You have to.
Yeah. So I just swung you got to swing your legs out, get your legs up at a 45 degree and swing around like that. And then it's just like a perpetuated rubber band going, and it was like, whoa!
Lucky you remember that.
Yeah.
Because that's amazing. See, I wouldn't jump out of a plane because my life's too valuable.
Nah,
to me. It's like so many people do that stuff, and I have things in my head where, and this is that programming we talk about.
Yeah.
Like we can choose. Like there's people, I see them on, you see them on social media all the time, climbing bloody scaffolding and buildings where they shouldn't be, and some of them are jumping off, some are just climbing free-handed, and
it's amazing.
And one slip or one mistake, it's goodbye, but they do it. And sadly people do lose their lives doing that too, but that's why my brain says, come on, that's just, I don't want to take that risk. Don't put yourself into that. But so you talk about like.
But you'll jump in a car every day, or jump.
Yes, yeah, but the survival rate's probably that little bit higher. I don't know. Actually, it's probably not when you look at how many people are doing
statistics,
it.
Man.
Statistics. Yeah. Isn't it amazing? You looked at the statistics and all that stuff.
Oh yeah.
I wish I could have it up. See, if I had a producer, I would actually have them pop it up.
A producer, if he had.
I need a producer is what I keep saying to people. So I have the technology, I just don't have the person to do it. You need friends to do that apparently. So so always been a struggle. But look, thanks for joining us, those that are joining us today.
Yes, thank you.
Those who don't know who I am actually, because I'm speaking with Michael Bennett, I actually host the show People with a Passion on YouTube. So if you're joining us and you're one of Michael's friends, he was the very first episode of People with a Passion it's not a year ago, actually, it's about 9 months ago. I had about a 2-month break, so probably been doing it around 7 months, but there's 34 episodes now. That's a lot.
Yeah.
They're all roughly an hour long. So if you haven't checked it out, go out, check out the YouTube channel, People with a Passion. You can subscribe there. Also, if you're on Facebook, he's streaming from the People with a Passion Facebook page, so by all means go and have a look at the People with a Passion Facebook page. Can I have a look? See, you've got 4 viewers. I've got about 4 or 5 on each at the moment, so that's cool. So we've got about 10. We've had as many as about 10 or 11 on one of the feeds. So but if you haven't yet liked People with a Passion, the page, please make sure you take time to do that, and feel free to start a watch party or share this post right now. Michael, who you got there that you want to shout out to that might have joined?
Julie's just banged on there. Thanks very much for joining us, and Melinda and Sandy Fry and Ace, and just beautiful people. Laura, Kalina, and Lisa once again, and Lynn. That's amazing. Thank you so much for the people jumping.
Are there any comments there? You got your comment window up?
Just the 2 good-looking guys, mate, at the moment. So we'll stick with that comment.
It must be broken. The chat window must be broken. I haven't had any questions. I must say, normally I do, but given that with my audience, they're probably not sure exactly. They're normally basketball fans, some of them, or that's who I've been mostly doing with the live stream. But actually, it might help if I play the stream. How's that sound? It's not. I wasn't playing it for starters. So yeah, I know what I'm doing.
Spot on, mate.
Yeah, spot on, mate.
Come to us, course, you'll love it.
So yeah, so let's talk about something that's not you know, relevant to this. So this crisis that we're encountering, you're not a guy who watches TV too much, are you?
No, I don't watch TV at all. I don't read the newspapers. I don't read magazines. I don't watch TV. I very rarely listen to the radio. So I like to keep my frequency and my energy at where I want it. You know, I want to be able to charge my heart and charge my mind with the right kind of energy. And so I'm pretty, you know.
So you find that stuff. I assume some of that stuff pretty negative and can take you to a place that's...
It's majorly negative. I mean, there's some kind of cool little bits coming out now because they're trying to find the positive out of it, and they're trying to do the feel-good stories and stuff, which is really cool. There's some beautiful things happening out there where the communities are helping each other, and they're helping the elderly, and neighbours are getting to know neighbours now because they're sitting at the driveways and chatting. You know, they probably lived there for 30 years, and yet now they know their neighbour because they're not allowed to be next to them, but they're now shouting across the driveway across the street. You know, I've seen some fantastic YouTubes with that. It's amazing. So,
I had my neighbour connect with me over the fence one day. I was hosing and he's just popped his head over. I thought there was a problem because the last time I had an interaction with him, there was a bird's nest and the bird was shitting on his was you know, ruining their washing. So he's like, can you get something done about that tree? And I'm thinking, come on, man, it's like, just wash your clothes. What are you talking about? So when he shouted over the fence, I'm thinking, okay, what's going on here? He doesn't talk to me too often. So, and he got chatting. He's a guy who works at the mines. He's talking about the fly in, fly out, and how hard it is now that he was home, and the guys out there that they got 2 weeks of quarantine. If they fly home, 2 weeks of quarantine, and then they fly back in. They've actually got 2 weeks of quarantine before they can do their 3 weeks roster. And he said, so you're spending 4 weeks where you're not allowed to do it. And he said, it's just most of the mining companies are just saying to guys, don't come back. We'll just work. Like they're working with the guys on the shifts. So
it's a changed mindset for a lot of people, isn't it?
So yeah, some are still flying in, flying out. They are doing that, but the mines, obviously, that costs them to have them sitting in quarantine, or whatever they have to do. I don't know if that's still the case now. That was at the start of the crisis. I don't know if the government see them as essential workers and they've got mitigations around that stuff. But they are flying, a lot of them. I think if it's interstate, they've got that obligation. But if it's in-state, they don't. From what I believe. So, so he was, I think, from going to WA. So, not easy for him.
For sure.
But yeah, so that it's certainly affected a lot of stuff. So what else you've been doing, mate? I've seen you on your live streams at 4 a.m. in the morning. I thought that was crazy. I actually seen you, I think, twice out around Shorncliffe.
Yeah,
playing your flute.
Yeah, I've made a plan now. Like I've been getting up at 4 to 4:30 each and every morning now, and I have for the last probably four months now, and I'm loving it. It's absolutely cool. So I get.
You're watching the sunrise over the water and.
Yeah, well, I bought a bike because I'm thinking, what do I love and what do I miss? And it's push biking. You know, that's when I go fast enough, you get a little bit of that wind in your eyes as well. So it's just like, okay, so I'm going to do that. I've been doing amazing case studies over the last 4 months, which has been mind blowing, just mind blowing. Trying to connect and make people laugh and smile without saying anything. All right? On a bigger scale during the coronavirus, and how we can do this, how we can create a connection, and it's been really, really wild the way that I've done it, and it's just dynamite now, like incredible.
Because one of your things when you were at Movie World. For the stunt show as the warm-up guy, Mad Mike, you used to, everything was non-verbal.
Yeah, that's right.
And you love the power of that.
Yeah,
so you're revisiting, cool. You're revisiting that because of the isolation. But I've noticed in your live streams that people, when you're playing your flute, are actually stopping.
I'm majorly connected now.
And you're just sitting there doing your thing.
Yeah.
And people are walking, doing their morning walks and watching the sunrise, and they're choosing to stop where you are.
Oh, they're loving it. And like if I'm not there for a couple of days, because usually I do Shorncliffe Pier, or I do Redcliffe Pier, or I do Woody
coming
Point,
to listen.
So it depends. And if I'm not there for a couple of days, like, where have you been? But I just do it myself for the sunrise because that's my morning gratitude, and the flute's actually my meditation, the Native American Indian Lakota love flute. That's my meditative thing.
I can see you looking. I can see you looking down at it. So So it's calling your name. You're gonna be playing that at some point. So
Yeah, it's very cool.
yeah, and those who aren't familiar with the flute, Michael's brought it with him. It goes everywhere you go.
Oh, it does.
It is it's a companion for you.
Oh, well, I just love it. And it's 432 hertz, which is the frequency of love and the frequency of nature, right? So it's absolutely amazing. And people just feel it straight away. I was doing it on a ship one time when I was going through the Milford Sounds as well. I just love it. And a guy turned around, and this was a hardcore guy, just turned around, and he had tears in his eyes, and he just says, "What have you just done to me?" He said, "That was the most amazing thing and experience that I've had in my life." And I was like, "Wow, really?" And numerous people say that, you know, when they hear this flute, because it is a heart frequency and energy resonance.
It's interesting because mindfulness is where you focus on something external to yourself, and this unique sound of the flute actually forces you to listen. It puts you in a calm place quite quickly.
It does.
So,
yeah, the 432 hertz is just it's a phenomenal frequency that, you know, must be got. You know, my next flute I want to get.
I was going to ask how many you're collecting these. They're not cheap.
No, I've only got 3 at the moment. My first one was gifted to me by my shaman Walter Smith. Is absolutely.
Is that who you
incredible.
brought? Is that the one you've got? Or
No, I've actually bought this one. This one's Joan.
Oh yeah, it's Joan. That was the one that you talk about in the podcast that was gifted to you by a lady from the ship as a thing.
Yeah,
Well, actually,
that's right.
They gifted you some money and you bought that and
that's
named it after her. So those that don't know that story, check out the video. I'll make sure too that people know that they can go and follow Michael Bennett, the comedian. He has, if you search Michael Bennett, that's 2 N's, 2 T's. Then an Angel Michael is the way it's spelled. If you go and check out on Facebook, you can follow him. You can also actually find some of his comedy up on YouTube. All PG from what I saw. I was very disappointed when I went looking for the hardline stuff.
Oh yeah. I did have some. I took it all off because it was not the frame that I'm going in for.
No, of course.
You know, because you know people.
You've changed that whole approach. That's why I asked, are you still doing it? Because
I can and I do still do it. It's not one of my fault. It's not one of the things that I like the most. You know, I'm trying to eliminate the swearing if I can, and because it's just negative energy. And my whole thing at the moment, especially over this five months that's been going on, is like just tell people, you know, if you get one negative, just find 2 positives to outweigh that, and you'll find that it really works. You know, turning negative into 2 positives. You know,
that's cool. I'm not sure what we're at time wise. We've been going a little while. Someone might be able to tell us. So started 60 minutes ago apparently. So that's an hour.
Okay.
But what I'll do is we'll get you to get your flute. Actually, we'll talk about the Mandela. Actually, so one of the that's a nice cue too. I like that.
Oh, is it? I'll just look at the. Oh yeah, no, these are just totally brand new. They've only been put in my hands.
So I spoke with the You Don't Fight Alone guy, and I sadly cannot remember his name right now, and I don't want to say the wrong name because it could be anyone famous but him. But he, in his book or his kit for people who suffer bipolar, You Don't Fight Alone is actually the name of his organisation,
Nice.
and he had in the book a mandala or mandalas that you could. To help you focus, you could actually colour in.
Yeah, that's the power of the adult colouring in for the mandalas are incredible.
And I said, in all my life, I knew what they were, but I never hear the word said hardly ever. And basically, there's a thing in another interview called the RAS state, which is your reticulated activation system, and that's where, say, you go and buy a car. And you buy a yellow Mazda or whatever, and then you drive around, and all of a sudden you see all these yellow Mazdas, and you go, "Wow!"
Exactly.
But you never really noticed the car until you owned it. So same thing as the Mandela. I was then watching a Jordan Peterson lecture, not interview, and he refers to Pinocchio and this Mandela and what it represents. And I'm thinking, wow, that's a word that I heard the other day. And then you walked in with. I'll get you to show it, so it's pretty cool.
I just took it out of my bag, but these were gifted to me by a fantastic friend of mine, Vicky, a few days ago. And
can I actually have a look before you open it up?
Yeah, sure. It's kind of good, but the whole synchronistic approach to it, and it just looks so beautiful. But I'm all about using mediums to get my message across. So it's either cards or balloons or whatever.
I was going to say, I thought that was a packet of smokes, and I'm going, what?
No way in the world, no. So this is actually a mandala here, and so when it moves, you know, so I'm going to make up stories with these to get the messages across, you know. So of course we've got the lotus flower here, then we can turn it into all sorts of different things, and I still yet have to learn how to manipulate it properly to get the best out of it. But you know, it's just incredible.
That looks
isn't
like a planet with the
yeah, it
rings
does,
around
you know, or maybe it's the flying saucers that are coming down to try
yes.
and get us. Yeah, so
That's that thing you're talking about being
Look
probed before that we didn't put on air.
yeah, that's
What
right.
was
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
What was that? Oh, the lights in your eyes.
That
That's
I
right.
enjoyed it. Yeah.
That's a.
So that's kind of it's kind of wild. I know it's freaky, but I've got to work out how to
I'm intrigued by
get a
it.
really cool message. It's absolutely amazing. Yeah, me too. And
It's one of those things that you look at and you go, "How is it doing all that?"
yeah. But hopefully I'll be able to get it really nice and smooth and get a great message with this.
Because you had
in
a vessel,
time,
you did a chalice or something before with it. Can you even remember how to produce some of these things?
Oh, okay, yeah. Like the chalice is. No, I don't.
No. Well, that looks like it.
Oh,
Well, what's
yeah,
that? A
it's
candle
kind of-
holder.
yeah, well,
it's
kind of-
whatever you want it to be in your
Yeah.
imagination.
Yeah.
That is pretty cool.
But I've got to be very careful
Yeah,
because
it's
it's
light.
very fragile and
Sort
stuff.
of.
So
So you've got a number. Can I have another look? Can I
Sure.
have a break of it? Yeah, too scared to push it, but it is there. It's very intriguing how it's all joined together.
oh, it's incredible, isn't it?
And it's something simple, but it's actually they talk about the Mandela. He's talking about on that interview having people colour it in, but I could see that sort of thing as something that could also help someone with some sort of mental health issue
Oh.
to say grounded because
Oh, totally.
he
It's
talks
very
about
meditative,
earth
very
stuff. Yeah,
meditative,
it's bizarre that it would be even just watching you play with that, as silly as it is. It's got my brain fascinated. How small things amuse small minds, they say.
Yeah,
so
it's cool.
it is
Well,
cool.
Anything like this becomes the anchor for the message that you're doing. So that's what I like with anchoring.
That's-
NLP you were talking about before, which is what the card says. If you pick a card or you get the balloons or something, that's the anchor that you're using. So I'm going to use these as an anchor, and then hopefully I'll be able to
Yeah, that
pass
might
it
have
on
been it.
to different people, you know.
Yeah, I reckon it's cool.
Yeah.
Unbelievable for
Great.
what it is, isn't it?
I know, it's crazy.
Small
It's
things
amazing.
amuse small minds, but it's intriguing. I find it
Yeah,
intriguing.
yeah. Teacher
So-
used to say that to me. They go, small things amuse small minds. And I always used to say, smaller minds take notice.
Yeah. I used to say, well, that's why I'm not amused, in reference to something. Now, we're at around an hour, so I do appreciate anyone who's actually joined us tonight for this episode of Live Streaming with Friends.
Thank you for joining us, yes.
So, any other shout-outs? Anyone new that's joined us that you've got on your stream?
Yeah, I got Brian, Eve, and Monique watching now at the moment. So thank you very much. These are the beautiful people that I live with now, and
Okay.
they're absolutely incredible. You
Yeah.
know, they've given me a totally whole. Oh man, they've engaged my heart so much and given me the true meaning of unconditional love. So that's absolutely amazing, and I am blessed to have them in my life. Thank you. Yeah, they're incredible.
So, if anyone wants to connect with Michael, you can do through his social medias and his new website. There is a book coming out, so I'll let you speak to those things now because you know those better than I can rattle them off. I don't want to confuse anyone, but I will make sure that in the videos will stay up,
Thanks,
so
mate.
you can actually share it with friends, and you can do a watch party again later if you choose to
Cheers,
at a
brother.
different time.
Appreciate that. Okay.
So it'll be on your page, but you can actually restart one tomorrow or whatever, and engage people if you choose to, if they've got any questions.
Oh, nice. Thank you.
If there are any questions we've missed, I haven't seen any, I must say. But if there are that we may have missed, then we make sure we will go to the comments and actually reply to those if it's something that Michael can reply to.
Thank you. Yeah.
We will do that. What we're going to do is I want you to throw to some of your websites that they can actually connect with you. We'll finish with a bit of flute, and we'll call it a night, I think. But
Thanks, brother.
play the flute as long as you like. I don't mind.
Or don't say that to Michael.
So I'll
cool.
have you go with that wherever you
Yeah,
want. I'll be
cool.
honest about that. Play it as long as people are prepared to listen.
Thanks.
And
I'll give him a couple of minutes. They will understand you.
yeah.
Can I share this tomorrow? Like how I've started doing this because of this COVID that's happening at the moment. There's some great people doing some amazing stuff, and of course, all the entertainers in the world we've lost our positions and places to go to entertain. And there was one thing that I noticed I got invited to must have been about a week and a half ago now, and it's called the Social Distancing Fest. I don't know if you've seen that, but
I haven't.
Yeah, well, I've started posting on that, right? They've got 168,000 followers, right? And I thought, wow, that's cool. I'll jump on there. There's amazing acts all the time. Social Distancing Fest. Got incredible acts.
And that's multi as well. You can choose some of those.
There's generally about 30 people live at one time, and it's just incredible. They're all from their garage and their homes and duos, bands.
Yes.
Doing whatever, incredible. And I told somebody that was played it and sing, I said, you should do that. Like, it's amazing. And then I went, well, I got the flute, because I don't consider myself a musician. I mean, I don't know how to play the notes. I play from the heart, So I started flicking my morning gratitude to the Social Distancing Fest in the mornings. And, like this morning, I got 2,500 hits within like 20 minutes. And then I got 190 messages, but I got 25 new friends from around the globe. They're saying hi from Minnesota, New York, California. I got one from Russia today, and so I'm just expanding. And I've been asked, and tomorrow I'm teaching the flute in America to the first inaugural band camp that they're having for the Corona. Yeah, and then I'm going to be playing in their concert as well at a designated time. So that's going to be 9 a.m. tomorrow morning, and then 11 a.m. for the concert. And then today I was asked to play at a church.
Okay.
In the States as well. So all this has come out of,
I was going to say, so this is what we were talking about before, opportunity. COVID can be, you can have that victim mentality, and this can be happening to you, or it can be happening for you. So that's an example of where you're proactive and you just stumbled across something where you thought,
it's amazing.
Hey, I'm not a musician, but I can do this. And just from putting your mouth to a piece of wood, I don't like downplay it that way, but sorry, did I just ruin it?
No, that's cool.
I just wanted to simplify it as simple as it could be to show people.
Well, you didn't say I was going. I'm about to finger Joan.
Joan. No, like that's, and I'm sure Joan wouldn't appreciate that, by the way. But
I don't. Joan, I don't.
She may. I don't know.
She's 91, but
I don't know. Too fast. See, that's the late night comedy coming out. We weren't going to go there. So I will allow you to play the flute so people get a taste of what it will be tomorrow. And if you are an entertainer and you're watching this, then by all means, it's basically demonstrating that you could go up on that platform and be part of that. Before you play the flute, I do want you to talk about your socials, so your new website, your book, and also your Facebook pages and Instagram.
Oh, thanks, Greg. Yeah, cheers, bro. Well, it's at michaelbennett.com. That's my comedy, pretty much my comedy page. And then the mindninjaacademy.com is the information about the mind and the mindset that it's going to help you. Probably quite a bit of stuff will help you go through there with the blogs I'm doing at the moment. And if you join the Mind Ninja Academy tribe on there, you will get heads up when the book's about to be relaunched. And then you can get some bonus material as well. So if you join the mindninjaacademy.com, so do that, join up and have some fun. We'll keep this mindset going. If it's not for yourself, it could be for somebody else as well, the book, So the book is Become a Mind Ninja, Discover How to Control the Monkey Mind, Defeat Depression, and Live a Life of Purpose. I mean, wow, we all want to do that in some way that we can,
And it is targeted, not anyone, it's for anyone, but you also have an angle that is basically around men and men's mental health as well.
Well, I'm trying to help curb suicide, So it's just out of control,
And PTSD you mentioned as well.
Yeah, post-traumatic stress disorder. Yeah, of course. All this sort of it's just to take back control of the mind and stop letting the monkeys control their mind and stuff. So yeah, do that. And then it's just Michael Bennett Comedian on Facebook and Michael Bennett on Instagram. So.
I appreciate your time. I'll probably say that again, but
thank you.
Joan's calling.
Hey, thanks.
Sorry, elbows. Oh, sorry. Yeah. All right, mate. I'll let you take it away with Joan. So thanks everyone for watching tonight. We're going to let Michael Bennett play his flute.
Thank you very much. Yeah, so feel free to do get on my Facebook page. I do this most mornings for the gratitude sunrise. Let's see what we can do. Trying to do this with headphones on is kind of weird. I'll leave them with that, hey?
I think so. Thanks for your time, everyone, tonight. Thank you very much for being here, Michael Bennett. Again, we'll probably do it in a few months' time. Totally enjoy your company and totally enjoyed yours if you watched us tonight. So thanks for being here, guys.
Thank you.